Hi, I'm Tony Keane, President and CEO of the International Facility Management Association, also known as IFMA. And I'm really proud to be part of IFMA because IFMA is a growing, dynamic organization that is continuing to reach out to meet the needs of FM professionals around the world. But I thought that it would be time to just take a step backwards and just kind of reflect a little bit on what we have accomplished over the recent times and look at how those initiatives are tied into what IFMA has stood for and has been trying to achieve for many, many years. This constant rate of change is something that is difficult at times, as we have to look at things differently, as we have to constantly adjust what our priorities are and what our expectations are. But without change, an organization would stand still and then be on the path to irrelevancy. And we know that for FM, the dynamic, exciting profession that it is, that's an absolute impossibility. IFMA has had a whole entire history of change and meeting the members' needs and meeting the profession's needs. That is what we continue to do day in, day out. So when we look at what our kind of original mission is as an organization, it focuses on three areas. One, we needed to be the thought leader in FM. Two, we wanted to increase the awareness of FM globally. And three, we needed to continue to enhance the professional status of facility management. So let's talk about some of the initiatives that have been undertaken over these last several years to accomplish some of these, and some of the areas that we're going to continue to move forward on to help continue to bring these to realization. 3 years ago, we launched the Knowledge Library. That was a new feature for our members, as well as the public and friends of IFMA. That Knowledge Library is bringing content that is direly needed in facility management. Most importantly, it also is vetted by our own credentialed subject matter experts within the FM arena. Many of our CFMs actually helped us and continue to help us vet that content so we can make sure that we're bringing the right content to our FM professionals. Recently, we launched the Built Environment Technology Association. We call it BETA. And that's because, as we all know, technology is ever changing, and technology is going to impact all of our lives, but most importantly, as it relates to IFMA, it's going to impact the built environment. And so what we want to be is at the forefront to identify those technologies that are being created, thought about, and then being developed. And what do they mean to our FM profession? And BETA is setting out to just do that. So we look for a lot more to come for the future for BETA. We continue to have expanded online FMJ content. What this does is allows us to bring more resources to our members and our FM public so that they can understand what's going on around the globe in the area of facility management and have deeper dives into certain topic areas. Last year, we launched the FM Research and Benchmarking Institute. Benchmarking and research has always been a critical component of what IFMA brings to the table. And because of that, the board agreed to launch a new organization that will be focused on that will be made up of our IFMA members and IFMA board to help create a unified research agenda that will then bring out more focus and potentially give us more resources to make sure that we're bringing to you the research and benchmarking information that's needed by our professionals in the industry. And then the important aspect is that it takes a community to create and be a thought leader. That's why we have multiple events around the world to be able to bring community and people together so that they can share best ideas and best practices, as well as be thinking about what the forefront of FM. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that this is a community not only just of our FM professionals, but it's also a community of all of our corporate sponsors, exhibitors, and the information that they share with us about the products and solutions that they have to help our members. So being a thought leader, being a global thought leader for the organization is something that has resonated with our organization for many years and has been part of our strategic plan for many years in some form or another. So as you can see, these activities are helping us to get there and continue to maintain that today and in the future. The second area of our core mission is about increasing the awareness of FM globally. Since the beginning of the decade, we have grown from 122 chapters worldwide with 22 of them outside of the U.S., to today of 137, with 32 of them outside of the U.S. This is a great increase, demonstrating the global needs for our FM community. One of the big achievements that's coming, that we've announced it, and it will be in fact in 2018, and that was finally, after many years of effort by many members and staff in the prior years, to get FM its own category in the Department of Labor classification system here in the U.S. That's an important aspect and an important recognition of getting facility management recognized in its own category, so then we can track the data, track the information and statistics, so that we have a much better understanding of what the facility management profession looks like in the United States. This categorization will help us and provide data for many decisions in the future. Another study that was released last year with our affiliation with Global FM was that we were able to finally come together and create and get an estimate of the economic value of what FM means annually to the global economy. That research report, which was released in 2016, demonstrated that on an annual basis, facility management creates an annual economic impact of $1.2 trillion US. That's a huge number. And what that means is that FM will be recognized because it's already being recognized economically. Being able to categorize that and quantify that gives us a much better story to tell, whether it be in the US Capitol or the EU in Brussels, or to our corporate vendors and future members around the globe. This is part of a major industry and a major profession that has got the excitement of the technology and the trends to come in the future. One of the other indicators that FM is truly becoming a global word and a global profession is the fact that now we even have FM being discussed at the World Building Summit that's hosted by the RICS, which is the Royal Institution of Chartered Surveyors. RICS is helping IFMA enhance and increase the awareness of FM around the world. They have over 120,000 members, and they have support offices in 30 different cities around the world, which will help us and give us a platform to be able to communicate our FM message. Another activity that we did recently to get a better understanding and listening to our members in the different regions of the world was the board last year established the regional advisory boards. These regional advisory boards, one for the Asia Pacific region, one for the Americas, and one for EMEA, European, Middle East, and Africa, help bring together members in those regions so that we can have a better understanding of the trends that are going on in those regions, what our members' needs are, what our chapters' needs are, and how do we make sure that our communities and councils are integrated into that process to be able to share information along various industry segments and topical areas for our members around the globe. These regional advisory boards will help us in terms of making sure we have relevant content for our regional events and keep track of making sure that we can continue with enhanced member engagement as we continue to grow on a global scale. The third area that has been critical to our mission as an organization is enhancing the professional status of the FM professional. Our credentials have grown in a big way over the last several years. And the credentials and recognizing FM excellence is something that's critical for our industry and our profession to be able to mature. For example, our FMP, the Facility Management Professional Designation, has grown since 2010 from 1,385 holders to now today of over 7,470. This is more than a five-fold increase over the last 7 years. This is something that we're proud of, and we as an organization should be proud of, as the FMP is becoming a globally recognized designation and a must-have for the FM professionals. Our SFP, the Sustainability Facility Professional Designation, is a designation that recognizes excellence in FM activities and how they can make an impact on the areas of sustainability. This credential was launched in 2011 and now has over 770 holders of this credential. We're very, very proud of our SFP holders, and we look forward for continued growth in this area. Our CFM, which was originally launched in 1993, has overall remain relatively stable for the industry. This is something that we have to be able to look at and say, how do we make sure that our CFM continues to grow? Because this is something that has not happened that much over in the recent years. What we need to do is we have this credential, the certification called the Certified Facility Manager, that is an absolutely high quality, globally relevant, and current credential and certification. It is something that is the absolute pinnacle for people that are practicing facility management that they should achieve. It is a recognition by the industry that they are aware and have the competency in all 11 core competencies that have been identified by IFMA through our global job task analysis. Our desire for our flagship certification for CFMs, because we have many members out there who have this designation and this credential and certification, so that we wanted to make sure that that was our flagship and that we put a lot of emphasis on that. When we were working and creating our collaboration with the RICS, that was a must-have. And as a result of that, our suite of credentials and qualifications has been created between IFMA and the RICS. The CFM is at the center of that. The CFM is where a lot of focus is on that. So we want to make sure that the CFM is positioned globally going forward and enhancing the value of all the people that currently hold the CFM, but more importantly, creating the value that make that a must-have certification. Working together, we can make sure that the CFM is the global gold standard. Behind the CFM, we have invested heavily into what we call the FM Learning System, FMLS. And this is something that has created a comprehensive platform around all 11 core competencies, which help prepare people for taking the CFM if they want to. This is another investment that the organization has made and the commitment the organization has made to the professional enhancement of our members and the people that are working in the FM profession. We find thousands of people are entering the FM profession every year. To help them get a better understanding of what FM is all about and how it plays into this bigger part of facility management. In 2015, our organization launched the Essentials of FM. And this helps provide people who are just wanting to know more about FM a quick overview and also giving that great introduction. Another aspect that shows our commitment to enhancing the FM profession is the fact that our FMP, the Facility Management Professional, and the SFP, the Sustainability Facility Professional, are both ANSI ISO accredited designations. Our CFM certification has already been applied for and is under review right now by the ANSI board to grant that accreditation also for our CFM. Maintaining our credentials at the level of a global standard is critical to our success as an organization and is part of my passion to make sure that we're doing everything we can to enhance the professional recognition of our FM people. Another aspect for enhancing the professional stature of FM is the whole aspect of standards. For the first time this year, earlier this year, we released 2 ISO approved standards. This was a collaborative effort from FM organizations and FM professionals around the world. Those 2 standards, and the third one are underway, will help set the standard for FM so that we now truly are a globally recognized, but more importantly, have the credibility of the ISO name behind us. Another aspect of our collaboration with the RICS was the fact that the RICS is a standard-setting body in its own right. We are working with the RICS to look at other areas of FM that also require best practice documentation and standard setting. Our hope is that we'll work all together to make those successful and so that we can create a world set of best practices and standards to follow. Many of those we will obviously continue to apply for ISO recognition. So since the beginning of the decade, we've implemented these types of initiatives to hold true to our core missions and our core areas of our mission. So let's talk a little bit about these results since then. We've seen membership grow from 18,000 to over 24,000. We've seen revenues of the organization grow by 74%. 100% of that growth, though, has been reinvested back into the organization, into the products and services that we offer. In the area of stewardship, our staff, our board and executive committee and finance committee and audit committee have all worked together to make sure that we're being good stewards of those funds and resources. Even though our revenues in our program area has grown by 74%, our staff has only grown by 18% as we continue to manage expenses efficiently to make sure that we're a well-run organization. We have a strong chapter network that all of our members make up. Our members make that local community for IFMA, and they're the day-to-day contact for many of our members. Without them, our organization would be nowhere near as strong as what it is today. We have our council and community networks and that framework to better serve our members so that the people in vertical industry segments and key topic areas that serve all of facility management will continue to be robust and to be continue to be enhanced. We'll be launching a new community platform here shortly to be able to make it easier for virtual discussion groups to be able to take place. And then another result of these efforts has been to really increase the number of World Workplace events around the world so that we can create a variety of those communities of platforms to bring together people to learn, to connect with their fellow colleagues and their professional interests, and then also to learn from those people and then also to share best practices. Those conferences globally have increased dramatically as we now have World Workplace in the North American marketplace. We also have World Workplace Europe, World Workplace in the UAE, Middle East. We also have World Workplace in India, World Workplace Asia, and World Workplace China, in addition to our fusion events in Canada and the US. As you can see, this creates many platforms globally for us to come together as a community of FM professionals and benefit from not just one region, but from multiple regions around the globe. And one of the aspects I'd really like to show my appreciation for, and also to bring it to your attention, is the fact that IFMA has had a strong set of leaders over many years. This is a tradition within IFMA where we get the best and the brightest to come to our board of directors and our executive committee. That strength in the strategic vision of our leaders throughout time has created what IFMA is today. We as a staff support and pledge our support to the board and to the executive committee and the leaders of our organization to make sure that we're doing the best we can, and we're vested in doing that. So in conclusion, I think that it's important to understand that our people of IFMA is what makes IFMA what it is. Our leaders, both staff and volunteer, are making sure that IFMA leverages its history to make sure that we are relevant for the future. Change is going to happen. It's inevitable. And I want to assure you that IFMA has a dedicated member and staff leadership committed to serve and grow the membership through being FM thought leaders, increasing the awareness for the profession, and most importantly, enhancing the profession through professional status. Things are going to continue to change. It's an evolutionary process. We are up for that challenge. Our organization is up for that challenge. And it's something that we welcome as an organization and as a profession. So work with the board, work with our leaders, work with our staff, and together we will continue to create an IFMA of the future that will be more vibrant and more relevant than ever before. Thank you.